right, hello guys. This is the Pear Tree podcast. What is it? Episode 4. Episode 4 here. We got
Okay.
special guest, the Lowe Zone podcast, Celtics fanboy, story ass franchise. Welcome, and you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
No, you just did it for me, Eddie. You did it for me. Let's just get this over with, all right?
Oh wow.
Look, I think I knew what I was getting myself into when I logged on here, and I just hear you guys talking about Kyle Lowry, the player I hate the most, the player who I despise the most. That is the worst jersey ever. I will take a Peyton Pritchard and a Paolo Banchero jersey any day over a Kyle Lowry jersey.
Why do you hate him so much?
Any day, because I just think he's a baby. He just cries.
He's the fattest ass in the league. Come on.
Okay, but besides that, like, what good does he do?
See?
Well, Kyle Lowry led the league in charges drawn about 40 times. Kyle Lowry, one of the best
everybody, everybody, like all these Raptors fans, they talk about Marcus Smart flopping. You guys have the queen of flopping, Kyle Lowry.
Well, we don't have him anymore, actually. So that's
what jersey is that, Marco?
Okay, no, I'm just making sure we can see it the entire podcast. There we go.
There you go.
Okay,
I don't know.
nice.
I think Kyle Lowry, if you really look at the stats, he's about for the last 5 years.
Like, I mean, he's made the Raptors more relevant the past 10 years than any Celtics player has. So.
He's like the Eastern Conference version of Chris Paul for the last 5-10 years. Before, he obviously didn't have the same pass when Chris Paul was averaging 20 and 10, but as far as like the last 5 years, he's Chris Paul basically.
All right. I mean, I don't know. I respect him as a player. I don't respect his flopping. I don't respect his crying. You know, he takes after his his father Nick Nurse.
Said you don't respect the flopping.
Do you hate the Raptors or something?
No, I don't hate that. I hate Kyle Lowry. Like right now, Kyle Lowry's on the Raptors. I can't stand Kyle. It's nothing to do with the Raptors. I can't stand Kyle Lowry.
But you said you have a problem against flopping and acting like a baby, but
yes, but Kyle Lowry is way worse than Marcus Smart.
I heard you're a Marcus Smart fan. Marcus Smart, I think, is well known and well documented being the biggest flopper.
Kyle Lowry complains even when he gets the call. Even when he gets the call, he still complains.
That's just a veteran move.
Heart of a champion.
So it's a veteran move when Kyle Lowry does it, but if Marcus Smart does it, it's the end of the world?
Because he's flopping.
Yes. And LeBron does it too. LeBron doesn't too.
Dude, LeBron doesn't even stay on the court for the whole game.
He walks off player of all time, LeBron.
LeBron James is the best player of all time?
Fifth.
Who's your GOAT?
The GOAT?
LeBron.
You can ask. Let's hear it.
We've had this debate before.
No.
I
want to hear your GOAT. Who's your GOAT?
Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
LeBron.
Let's hear it. What's yours?
No, because you guys are gonna call me a homie.
No. Okay.
Are you you're about to say Larry Bird or Bill Russell or something?
No, not Larry Bird. Bill. I think it's between Bill Russell. I think it's between Bill Russell and I think it's between Michael Jordan, and I don't think it's a debate. I think it's one of those two. I would go. See, the thing is everybody says, okay, they played against plumbers and all that. It's like, first of all, I could never do it. Any NBA player ever does. I don't care what era it is. I'm not one to judge, and I'm not one to say they play with plumbers. I could never.
I agree, though. I agree on that point. It is era. But, people like to complain about that. They had tall players in that era. It's correct. Every era is valid.
And they did not have a 3-point shot then. So if he was putting up these points, they didn't have a 3-point shot. Michael Jordan was not a 3-point shooter. He couldn't. He did not shoot threes. He
could make them on occasion.
He could make that, but he says, "Why would I take that shot? It's not a high percentage shot. If it's there, I'll take it. But if not, if I can score down low so easily, I should be able to." Then you see LeBron James stepping up from the logo, and like it's
He went 9 for 14. He went 9 for 14 last night. So.
It makes me cringe when he pulls up. He shrugs his shoulders and he pulls up from half court and he airballs it. It just makes me cringe.
Okay, this is airball every time.
The effort is just horrible from LeBron James. I mean,
defensively,
I did not watch.
Defensively, I think is the biggest problem with LeBron.
He gives up on plays.
When he gives up,
he thinks he's the biggest person in the world. Which, granted, like he is the face of the league. Like there's no denying that. But I don't like, and it's not just LeBron. It's every player that does this. But LeBron is obviously the most notable player. Like he walked off the court with like 20 seconds left last night. Like give me a break. Like if another teammate did that of his, he'd be embarrassed. He'd be pissed. So I feel like you never saw Michael Jordan do that. I know like all three of us, like we didn't grow up with Michael Jordan, but like you YouTube Michael Jordan and you watch full games on NBA TV of Michael Jordan. He was not walking off the court even if they were down by 20.
So let me ask you this: is this LeBron slander coming from a place of that's just how you truly feel, or are you just upset for how he bitched the Celtics year after year after year?
So the crazy thing is that's what sucks about my basketball opinions, because I am a Celtics fan, so people think it's biased. I don't have any ill will towards LeBron James. I don't. I just don't think. I just I respect LeBron. Like I don't sit here, and I'm not one of those people to spit at him or throw a water bottle at him or yell at him. Like I could never do what they do on a day-to-day basis. I don't care what type of athlete it is. That's why I admire the player like Sam Hauser last night for the Celtics. He barely plays. He got cut out of the rotation. He was back in it because Celtics were injured. He shot 0 of 8 last night, and then today he posted on his Instagram something just enjoying the moment. And then he had to turn his comments up because everybody was roasting him. Like, dude, you didn't make a shot. It's I even posted on my Instagram story. It's I don't know why people are getting so heated about this, because anyone would kill to be in his position, getting paid millions of dollars to dribble a basketball, to shoot a basketball. Also, he's grateful. These players are grateful. There's some unhumble players in the league for sure, but these players are grateful to even be playing in the league.
Yeah, for sure.
I especially feel a lot of players nowadays have to deal with social media, which is not something like a 15th man on a roster wouldn't have to deal with that in the 90s. Like you said, I forget the Celtics player's name, but anyone like that, you miss a lot of shots and you're not a big name, you're out.
Right. I like I said, I don't have any ill will towards LeBron. I just don't like the walking back on defense or playing 5-on-4. I think that's an issue. And again, it's it sucks because it's LeBron James, so it makes, as a Celtics fan, it makes me seem like I'm personally attacking LeBron because I'm a Celtics fan and he's beat us in previous years, when that's not the case. I don't applaud that. I don't pay there to watch LeBron choose what plays and pick and choose what plays he wants to be a part of.
No,
So
yeah,
are you taking Larry Bird over LeBron?
Oh boy.
See, that's tough because this is. No, I'd probably take there's different games of Larry Bird that I would take. Offensively, I would take Larry Bird's shooting. I'd take Larry Bird's play.
Yeah.
I would take LeBron's. That's why I hate the GOAT conversation, and I will lose that debate every single time, 9 times out of 10. And the reason is because eras, right? Like Bill Russell in the Kareem era, and then you had the Jordan, or you had the Bird and Magic era, then you had the Jordan Kobe era, and now you have the Tim Duncan Shaq, and now we're going into the years where it's the Tatum Doncic era. We're
you snuck Tatum in there. You really snuck Tatum in there.
I mean, I feel like it's Doncic.
No. What do you mean snuck Tatum in there?
You snuck Tatum.
Why is Luka in there, but Tatum's not? No. See, this is what pisses me off. Because what has Luka done? His personal accolades. What has he done?
I can say
what has Tatum done?
Tatum
made the finals and fumbled. Tatum made the finals with one of the best.
Barely made it out of the first round. That's crazy.
Luka made the conference finals. Luka made the conference finals last year.
He made it once.
Put up just as much
the Clippers.
He put up just as much.
You give Luka the Celtics roster, he's taking that team to win a chip.
That Celtics roster was nuts. How did Tatum fumble that? The Celtics, the odds for them to win against the Warriors were.
So Tatum doesn't get to go in that conversation because he made it to his first NBA Finals and he lost to a Warriors dynasty team. That's why.
Wow. Okay, but you're calling them the dynasty team. Who do they have? They're not. Look at them.
I need to find what Jason Tatum shot.
That was not a championship team. That was a team that was not built to win a championship, and they still did because the Celtics, they didn't perform at all. The Celtics.
I think it's crazy to put Doncic and Tatum on the same level. Doncic is clearly.
What about Jokic? Jokic is the best.
Yeah, even Jokic. I'm trying. What?
You're stunned. Tatum did not perform.
I just can't believe you guys hate the Celtics that much.
Okay.
You're not hating the Celtics.
You're just.
Are we taking Tatum over Jaylen Brown now too?
Okay, that's a bit crazy saying Jaylen Brown's better than Tatum. Relax.
Are we taking Tatum over Jokic? Are we taking Tatum over Giannis?
Yeah, see, that's I'm not gonna lie, I have a hatred toward Boston in general, but I'm not using it as a bias. I think Tatum's top 5 young players, but I don't think he's better than Doncic, Giannis, Jokic.
I don't think he's better than Giannis. I think if Giannis not to change the subject, but I think if Giannis can consistently hit 3-pointers, it's over. It's over for the league. I really do. I really truly believe
if
that.
he
I
keeps
do.
what he's doing,
I think
he
if
can
I
go.
don't think that makes much of a difference as people like to think it is.
really, I think it is for sure. But
If he has a jumper,
think-
he's like,
Giannis,
no one can
Giannis
stop
can
him.
score at will in the post. He can score at will driving to the basket. What's a 3-pointer going to change that much?
Then you can't guard him on any level of the floor.
you can't
the
guard
thing
him
is, like,
anywhere. You can't guard him.
it adds like a different facet to the game, but he has to give up twos to hit those threes.
And it opens it helps space out the floor. It'll get guys like Middleton.
It spaces out the floor.
Once you have to worry about Luka, or excuse me, what's his name? Giannis going inside and he gets an outside game, you have to worry about every single thing. You really have to be on your toes for that.
Make adjustments. It's obviously I don't know, would it end the league? Because you look at like players like LeBron, he could drive to the basket as well as anyone, and he's developed a three. Did it?
I think I'm one of those who think that Giannis. I think Giannis is the most dominant player since Shaq. I really do.
Giannis is dominant defensively and offensively. Where LeBron, as much as I love him, he was like good defensively for like 4-5 year stretch. Giannis has been consistently good on defense.
I do think it's an effort thing too. I also think Jokic doesn't get enough respect. I don't know why.
That's true.
If it's because Denver is a low market team, but Jokic is a talent that you have never.
Nobody's played like
seen.
See,
like how tall is he? What is he? 7'1", 7'2"? We see this. We see this guy who's a center, and he could play point guard just as better as any point guard in this entire league. He can rebound. He can shoot that rainbow jump shot. I mean, like,
is Jokic your MVP?
Yeah, he's shooting 63% from the field this year. That's insane.
Is Jokic MVP this year?
Well, okay. We had this convo.
So I don't want to. One of you said this, and I don't know which one of you it is, and you were very wrong. And maybe it was. I don't want to go ahead and accuse both of you because maybe it wasn't you guys, but somebody said Jokic is not winning MVP because he's won it 2 times prior.
That was this guy.
That's wrong.
Voters fatigue is a real thing.
It's a real thing, but if you want to vote, who would you vote?
What did you say?
Voters fatigue.
Okay.
But
so I'm saying
we're talking. Who would you vote though? Who would you vote personally if you had to vote?
Me?
Yeah.
I think Jokic having statistically a better year. Don't get me wrong.
Who would you vote for? With the number 1 team in the West, who would you vote for?
I'm picking Doncic. I'm not gonna lie.
Can I tell you something? One of the reasons why I do think when this comes to the Tatum-Luka debate, and I know we're talking about Jokic, but Jokic is my MVP right now. And
I would take Embiid over Luka, to be honest, as an MVP.
So, okay. When I talk about this whole Tatum-Luka thing, right? And I don't think there's a bias in what I say. I just believe that's my opinion, right? Like, I understand what Luka, and I'm not denying Luka at all. Like, what he's doing is special. But also something Luka might be holding over Tatum is the consistency, right? Like, what we're seeing from Tatum is taking the right steps in the MVP direction where he's affecting the game in many ways.
Yeah.
He's getting double-digit.
Tatum should definitely be top 5 in MVP voting this year.
Right.
But
Tatum's game has evolved so much, and it's, maybe because I watch it on an everyday basis, I cover the team. His rebounding is phenomenal. His playmaking is
rebounding is good.
But his consistency that's something that wobbles. And something that the Celtics have is they have depth, right? Like they have guys like
they have the best defensive team in the league around them. They have
like
the best
Jaylen Brown's there to pick him up. Derek White's there to pick him up. Malcolm Brogdon's there to pick him up. Luka doesn't have that.
That was my main reason.
I think the biggest knock against Tatum is that he has the best supporting cast in the league of any superstar, and it's not even close. They have a crazy team this year, and last year they should have won the championship, but they fell short to a Warriors team that isn't.
I think
the playoffs.
Tatum needs more experience in bigger moments because if he plays
more clutch for sure. I will admit that every day.
Well, let me ask you this as well. Would you consider Tatum to be the best player in his draft class?
Oh my God, I am horrible with draft. Who was drafted with Tatum? Who'd it go? It was Fultz,
Lonzo Ball.
Let me look it up. Let me look up the draft.
Wasn't it Fultz, Kuzma, Tatum? Or no?
Kuzma, Donovan Mitchell.
Kuzma was
Donovan
later,
Mitchell.
right?
Kuzma was that draft. It was Lonzo, Fultz, Tatum, Josh Jackson,
Yes.
Donovan Mitchell.
Yes.
So I guess that's like Donovan Mitchell.
I'm taking Tatum over all of those. The only one that I question would be Donovan Mitchell, but I think Tatum, I think Donovan Mitchell is more of a Jaylen Brown comparison, in my opinion.
What about this one? Okay, so I was having a debate with someone over social media a couple weeks back, and it was who's the best player in the 2016 draft class. Would that be Siakam or Jaylen Brown?
Oh gosh, I think
because I think I'm even taking Siakam over Tatum as far as who's a better player. I would definitely trade Siakam to get Tatum, but I think Siakam's a better player right now.
Wow, really? I don't think that at all. I respectfully disagree. What makes him better?
Well, I think Siakam is definitely
Siakam's better in the post.
He's a better playmaker. He's definitely a more consistent scorer. He defends just as well as Tatum does, and I think.
So you would take Siakam over Tatum if you were drafting right now. You were on the clock.
I think if it's one season, if it's just one season.
No. This is you're going into the NBA draft, not just one season. Who do you want as your franchise player?
Well, I would take Tatum because he's younger and he has a future, but Siakam, I'm talking this year specifically, I think is.
Really? You would take Siakam this year?
Hey, you think Siakam's having a better statistical year than Tatum?
I don't think he's having a better statistical year. I think he's just a better player currently.
Like more efficient? You think he's a more efficient player?
I think so. I think he's a better passer. He's just as good of a rebounder, and he
I'd say okay.
Better. Tatum.
I think Tatum is better than Siakam, better scorer and better passer.
Siakam
might have rebounding over him, but like,
is he a better passer though? Are we saying he's a better?
I think Tatum's really improved that level part of his game.
He has improved it, but Siakam has as well. Siakam's averaging 7.
Siakam has a good passing game. I don't think it's better than Tatum's.
Tatum's average. How many assists is Tatum averaging?
Okay, what's the assist? So something that might hurt Tatum is what's the assist to turnover ratio? That's something we have to compare as well.
Siakam has less turnovers and 2 more assists a game.
I think Tatum's better overall. I don't think.
What about Jaylen?
Yeah, I think Tatum's a better player.
I don't think it's close when I'm talking Tatum and Siakam. I don't think they're on the same
level. What about Jaylen Brown or Siakam? What are you taking in that one?
I mean, you're comparing a center to a guard, so I mean it's hard.
They're like what, 3 inches apart?
I still think it's tough. They play 2 opposite positions. Jalen's spending 90% of his time on the perimeter. Siakam's spending 90% of his time in the post. I think that's hard to compare. That's why I hate like comparing guys like Kobe Bryant and Shaq. Like it's like those guys play 2 different positions. You know, like Tim Duncan and Rajon Rondo. It's like those guys play.
I think I'm taking Rondo. I think I'm taking Rondo on that one.
I'm just saying, like, I think it's I don't know. I don't think Siakam clears anybody on the Celtics whatsoever. I genuinely don't. And I'm not saying that. No, not well, obviously, like friggin' Sam Hauser or Peyton Pritchard, but like I don't think he clears maybe Marcus Smart, but I don't think he clears Tatum. I'm saying Siakam clears Smart.
Yeah.
Not defensively, but he clears Smart. I think.
Who's a better defender, OG or Smart? How about that one?
Oh, come on, Marcus Smart.
Oh, hell no.
You didn't just say that.
You guys are Raptors fans? You guys are Raptors
okay,
fans?
OG's kind of crazy here.
OG Anunoby's the best defender in the league.
Currently, I'm not saying all time, currently.
He's the best. He's the best.
Like this year? This year?
Yeah.
This year? Okay, yeah, okay. This year I'll give it to OG. This year I'll give it to OG.
I'll give you Marcus Smart.
I thought you meant all time. I thought you meant like all years combined. Like so far,
best year versus best year.
Huh?
Peak versus peak. Who's better defender?
I mean,
it starts with an O.
Yeah, but that's easy for you to say because you're a Raptors fan. You watch the Raptors every day. I watch the Celtics every day. So I
watch the Celtics throughout the whole playoffs. Smart. I think Robert Williams is a better defender than Smart. He's more impactful.
I do. I think Robert Williams is.
He was my vote for defense.
I think if he didn't get hurt, he would have gotten the award. I think it would have been for sure Robert Williams. He's just impacted this team on a whole other level. But that's crazy. I think. Oh boy. I think I'm still taking Marcus Smart. That's my opinion. I'm still taking, but this year it's definitely OG. I thought you meant all around. That's what
No, but like still, I'd take OG's year right now over Marcus Smart's defensive player of the year.
100%.
I mean, okay, so the thing about the Celtics last year, they were such a weird team, right? So like when we talk about the second half of the season, and I'm not throwing excuses out there. Tatum sucked in the playoffs. Tatum sucked in the playoffs. But what I preach, even on my podcast, the Celtics podcast, and the post game shows, is one thing the Celtics have going for them this year that they didn't have last year was at this time last year the Celtics were something like 21 wins and 25 losses, right? So between now and the NBA Finals, those guys were fatigued. Those guys had to go on this historic run. These guys had to play every single night. I mean, we were playing our starters in the last game of the regular season.
That's crazy.
Typically, yeah, right, correct. Because the Celtics had so much room to make up, they couldn't afford to rest players. This year, I know we haven't even gotten an All-Star break yet. This year, the Celtics are 22 games over 500, right? So they can afford to drop games. Obviously, you don't want to drop any games, but it's not like last year where you're playing catch-up. Right? If you were getting hurt right now, like Marcus Smart rolled his ankle the other night in Toronto. It was gruesome. And it was, oddly enough, I saw Patrick Mahomes roll his ankle. I switched it back to the Celtics, and Marcus Smart was walking out with a sprained ankle.
But I know those are happening at the same time.
Yeah, those literally happened maybe 10 minutes away from each other. But the Celtics don't have to play catch up this year. They don't have to get fatigued. They don't have to worry about all that. And I think
that's why
I picked the Celtics. The Celtics is my championship team this year.
Right. And people are so quick to go ahead and assume the Celtics are championship locks. And I agree. The Celtics are on a whole other level over a lot of teams in the NBA. But
the Nuggets.
I mean, this year. Nobody's talking about Denver. Like nobody's talking about.
That is you don't hear enough in the media about Denver being at the top of the West.
Right, and I agree. I rarely agree with Charles Barkley, and I'm not saying this because I'm a Celtics fan. I could care less. I really could. Why are the 13th seeded LA Lakers all over national TV? I get LeBron James is on there, but they are legitimate embarrassments to watch. And again, I could never do what they do, but.
Yeah,
they put every Lakers game like who, and I agree. Charles Barkley said this. Who is the 13th seed in the Eastern Conference? It's I think the Orlando Magic.
It's the Magic.
Orlando.
When do we ever see Orlando Magic games all over TV? When do we ever talk about the Orlando Magic? Right, like
the only Magic player anyone cares about is Bencher or Bol.
Right. Yeah. Essentially. I also like the West. I know we were just talking about the East, but the West is wide open, right? Like
the West is insanely competitive right now.
Well, I've never seen the Western Conference so up in the air. I cannot pick
Sacramento is crazy this year.
Sacramento being 3rd seed?
That's
insane.
That's not a fluke. Over 50 games in, and they've won 27 of them.
Sabonis is an MVP candidate, in my opinion.
I just think what they have there, I think Rashard Holmes is like one of the most improved players. I think he's just, I don't know.
I've always liked him. I've always liked the way he played.
I really like that Kings team. I think the West, like there's even the Nuggets. Like I think the Nuggets are on a whole other level of Western Conference teams out there for sure. But I can't guarantee them, put my house on that they'll be there. Like there's in the East, there's 4 or 5 different teams I could legitimately see making it out of the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, there's I only pick I think 4. Honestly, I only see being real contenders in the East.
Oh, let's count the Celtics,
Boston, Philadelphia,
Philly,
Nets,
Milwaukee.
KD's healthy.
Milwaukee, the Nets.
And Milwaukee. I think the Sixers are a bust.
Cavs. No, the Sixers are not a bust. The Cavs can make the finals. That's 5. I think the Raptors can make the finals.
Okay.
If they trade for.
We've had a shit year. We've had a very, very, very.
If you're asking me, and I'm being very honest about the Raptors, I think it's time to figure out what path you want to take because
I'm thinking for the Raptors,
mediocre,
such a talented team, such a talented starting lineup. But then if you look at the bench, it's awful. And then you look at the fit of the 5 stars they're just not meshing well as they should.
I think it's do or die for the Raptors. Like right now, they got to figure out.
I think we sell. I think we trade Fred, re-sign Gary.
So who do you want to build around? Who do the Raptors want?
Siakam and OG.
Yeah.
And Scotty
No.
Barnes.
Scotty. I think
Scotty,
Scotty's
Siakam.
had a down year, but I honestly think he'll be a really good player.
A down year for him is 15, 5 and 5 or
Yeah,
whatever.
he's still having a good year, but it's not like
He's a good player.
not what we expected.
For a 21-year-old, that's solid.
But I honestly think we should take Gary over Fred.
The Raptors, think about this. The third best player on the Celtics would be the sixth best player on the Raptors.
What?
The third best player on the Celtics. So
Robert Williams?
Who would be you saying he's the third best on the Celtics?
Easily.
He'd be the sixth best player on the Raptors.
No, Marco, no way you agree with that. There is.
I think we can all. That is
the most biased thing. No, that's very.
But are we taking?
No,
let's go.
No. You can't
go through the list. Let's go through the list. Siakam is better than Robert Williams, 100%. I think we can all agree. OG is 100% better than Robert Williams. Best 3-and-D player in the league. Come on, best defender in the league right now.
This year though, he's not better than Fred's not better than him.
17 points a game. Oh, bro, why'd you say it with so much sass?
Fred has had that.
Fred VanVleet is better than Robert.
Robert Williams is not. No.
Robert Williams is
you
not.
You can go on. I'm sorry.
Gary Trent Jr.
Okay, Gary, no.
Gary Trent Jr.
You're telling me
19 points a game.
Are you telling me you would not, if they offered Robert Williams, you wouldn't give him Gary Trent 1-for-1?
100% no.
No,
I mean,
because the Celtics would never offer Robert Williams for anybody on the Toronto Raptors. Not one person on the Toronto Raptors.
So you're taking Robert Williams over Gary Trent. That's nuts. You're taking Robert Williams over Scotty Barnes. That's nuts. All 5 of the Raptors starters.
I'm not saying I would trade Robert Williams for Scotty Barnes.
I would trade Robert Williams for Fred right now if we got a pick. But
okay, but the Celtics, dude, that's a one-way street. The Celtics should never, ever accept.
Because that's not how he fits in the team. They have a starting point guard. They have Smart and Derek White.
No, that's not why. That's because the skill level of Robert Williams.
Fred is shooting 39%.
Combine all the starting 5 of the Raptors. Combine all of them.
Yeah.
Robert Williams is not better. Or Robert Williams is better.
No, 100% no. Robert Williams is not
better. Williams would be, you're telling me Robert Williams would be the 6th best person on the Toronto Raptors.
100%, I agree with that.
No, I'm not saying that.
I agree. Thank you. It's settled, right?
Okay, Eddie.
Okay, Marco. No way you think he's.
I think realistically this year I'm taking Siakam and OG over Robert Williams, but I can't see anyone else on our squad.
But Robert Williams will play like 15 games.
So Robert Williams is averaging what? 8 points a game, 8 rebounds, 8 points. He's a great defender.
He only plays. He like doesn't even crack 20 minutes.
Exactly. Because
he's injured. He just came back. So what
did he average last year?
He basically averaged double.
I think Robert Williams' value is so. No way. You think he's the same? Okay. First of all, you're one of those guys who goes straight to the points. Like just straight to the points.
Not straight to the points. Fred VanVleet's okay. I'll say this.
There's so many if somebody had 30 assists and 20 rebounds and they only had 12 points and they missed like 10 shots, they had a bad game.
No, that's a great game. But look at this. Fred VanVleet's a great playmaker. He's one of the best playmakers in the league. He's underrated.
He's had such a shit year.
Okay, but that's you just looking at efficiency. He does more.
Efficiency is very important to look at.
But you can average 25 and shoot 25% from the field.
Missing his shots, okay? But when he's having a good night, the Raptors are transformed.
He hasn't had many good nights.
Robert Williams, he's one of the best defensive players in the league. But other than defense and rebounding from
time to time, me you wouldn't
offensively, he's a cone. He doesn't pass the ball well.
Why are you telling me you wouldn't take a defensive center like that on our team?
I say 100%. I would take him on. I would
trade Fred though. We don't need another. We don't need Fred.
Why are the Toronto Raptors?
I think that's a better fit for the team.
Why are the Raptors a 12 seed? Both of your Raptors.
Why are the Raptors a 12 seed? Okay, so we've got to look at a lot of different facets. It's injuries. You shut up. The bench is awful this year. The bench doesn't have any ability to. There's no
backup point guards. Malachi Flynn.
There's no defense on the bench. The bench is. I think the bench is the biggest problem. Fred VanVleet's not playing very efficiently, and there's been a lot of injuries, and also we don't have a center. We don't have any rebounding. We don't have any post presence. There's no one to
That's
block.
what I'm saying.
Precious
Fred
Achua
for-
is not working out for you guys.
Well, Precious Achua, I think, is a good player. I think he's
Yeah, but he ain't a starting
underrated.
center. He's a back. He's a bring the guy.
100%. He's a backup center. I think
I
he's
don't
a
think they're
decent
using him.
backup center.
Do you agree with that? They're not using him correctly.
No, I don't think Precious is. I think he's a good player. I just don't think he fits well with that Raptors team right now.
Don't worry. I had to. You know, he's about past the scoring record. I had to bring the go in here.
All right, let's continue. The Raptors. Sorry, guys. The Zoom meeting ended real quick. You know, don't have Zoom Premium. The Raptors' problem is the bench. The bench is the biggest problem. The consistency of lineups. I think the Raptors have played the most lineups in the league, most different starting lineups in the league, and it's not even close to second place. I think Fred VanVleet's having a down season shooting wise, which happens. I was saying trade him last year because I think Scotty Barnes would probably be a better fit at the point guard. We get a big man that
I think Gary's better than him.
Nuts defensively. Gary Trent is better defensively. I think offensively, Fred's still the better player because he's one of the best playmakers in the league. He's definitely like a better playmaker. I'd take him as a playmaker, top 10 for sure. Kyle Lowry, like the type of playmaker. I think the biggest problem lies in the bench, and I think the starting lineup is great, but it's just the consistency and
The gap.
and also the gap at the center position is nuts. I think there's no rebounding, there's no like defensive anchor, which is just not allowing us to be the elite defensive team that we have the personnel to be. You know,
I think we just honestly tank for Victor. You know, get that rebounder.
I disagree because Victor's not a rebounder. He's a shot blocker. He's not a rebounder. And there's no point in tanking. I think tanking. This is why the Magic are.
If we get Victor.
Yeah, but I think it's too late. I think it's way too late to start tanking for you guys.
I agree. I think we should go. And
the lottery is set in place where we could.
The Raptors, when the Raptors are hot, we could take out a top seed. We could take out the Sixers. We could take out the Nets. Like I think we have the personnel to take.
The only thing is, I don't think we have anyone to stop like Embiid or Jokic. There's no one on our team that can guard a center.
Nick Nurse is the best coach in the league right now, and he can put us.
Okay, you can't say he's the best coach in the league right now. That's
and
that doesn't make sense.
I think the Raptors, if you tank, you're creating a losing culture around you. Young players like Scotty Barnes, they don't develop.
I didn't mean tank. I meant we should, pray for Victor.
I disagree.
You really believe, you genuinely believe Nick Nurse is the best coach in the NBA right now?
100%.
I think last year.
You 100%.
That's not the question. Right now.
Did you watch the game when Nick Nurse held Joel Embiid, one of the best scorers in the league, to 0 points?
That was 3 years ago, no? 2? 3?
Right now.
Right now he's not.
Today, Eddie. Nick Nurse is the best coach in the league?
100%, yeah.
This year.
100%.
This year.
Defensively,
this year, though. That's the crazy thing. This year, the 12th seeded coach is the best coach in the league.
You know how many games Juancho Hernan-Gomez has started this year? You know how many games he started?
Where are you going with this?
10. Juancho Hernan-Gomez. Is he a good player? Would you call him a good player?
No.
You think
he was a waste of money. He was 7.1 that was sitting at the end of the Celtics bench. That thank God.
Cruz, baby. Bo Cruz.
Exactly.
Yeah, Bo Cruz is a good player, though. Bo Cruz is a good player.
So, Juancho Hernan-Gomez has started 10 games.
Yes. That's bad. That's bad. That's on the GM. That they got to go out and get a center. That's
rookie Christian Coloco, who's averaging 4 points a game and 3 fouls a game. He's almost averaging more fouls than he is points. He's averaging more fouls than he's almost averaging more fouls than he has rebounds. He has started half of his games. He started 19 of 40 games he's played.
Did he get sent down to the 905?
You're going through what Boston went through in 2021. Where
exactly,
they were mid, they weren't bad, but they weren't good. They were mid, and they had about 80 different starting lineups in 20 games.
Exactly.
every line, we started Evan for a lineup of Evan Fournier, Romeo Langford, Peyton Pritchard, Jason Tatum, and Tristan Thompson. It's the most random thing you could ever see. It's like when 2K auto generates lineups and they just throw some BS in there. That's exactly the Raptors are in the position the Celtics were in 2 years ago, 3 years ago, like right after that season where no fans were allowed in the arena.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
that.
can we talk about the bubble? Because I think that 7-game series against the Celtics, if the Raptors would have won that, they're champions. The Celtics choked against the Heat. Awful series.
I think if we had Kawhi, we'd win that series.
We would
I
have.
think if you guys had Kawhi, you would
repeat
have won that. You would have won that. And who was the finals after? The Suns?
the Lakers.
No,
The finals
After
after
that,
was
the Suns.
Suns Milwaukee.
Suns Bucks.
that Suns Bucks thing. I'm sorry, the Bucks are the most fraudulent.
Oh, okay. I can disagree with you here because the
fraud.
Bucks with the injuries almost took down the Celtics last year as well. So
What?
the Bucks could have taken down the Celtics last year.
I didn't call the Bucks frauds.
Huh?
I think the Suns are frauds.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't say the Bucks were frauds.
I thought you were calling the Bucks frauds.
No,
I'm happy to
no.
see
The Bucks.
Suns
I
downfall.
think, in my opinion, if the Bucks are the one team, I don't want to play in the playoffs. I do not want to see Giannis Antetokounmpo.
What about the Nets?
I don't care. A healthy Brooklyn, yes, but the Nets are so hard to just say, hey, you want to see Brooklyn in the play. It's like, yeah, okay. It's one, it's January, and two, you don't know what Brooklyn you're getting. You don't know what Kyrie Irving you're getting. You don't know what Kevin Durant you're getting. You don't even know what around them. Like, they're trying to sell Curry and Harris. I think you keep one of them. I think you ship out Harris because Harris is always injured. I don't know. And if you get rid of both of those guys, there goes like 99.9% of your shooting, right?
I
Like,
think people also forget that Ben Simmons is on that team. Which,
Ben,
not much offensively, but
Ben Simmons.
yeah, but Ben Simmons affects the games in many different ways, and nobody talks about that. But I think his shooting, even if it's layups, I don't care if it's layups or dunks. That's not going to affect my life. But at the same time, he is the third star on that team, supposedly, right?
he's averaging 7.5 points, which is like kind of.
Well, Ben
Yeah,
Simmons.
but it's a shot attempt, so like.
He's a solid
Yeah,
defender.
fair.
He can play make well. He can rebound. But he's playing like a lesser version of Draymond Green. Like,
I have no problems with Ben Simmons. Like, if Ben Simmons can figure out offensively, whether it's attacking downhill, whether it is putting a mid-range or three-point shot into his game, or reinstalling that little mid-range at the elbow jumper, like, I think he is going to be perfectly fine, and the Nets are going to be really good with him.
the Nets don't need him to be a scorer though. They have a great scoring. They just need it.
I understand that, but I think
he needs to be consistent. I think he just needs to play his role defensively as well.
he's a head case. I feel like he's in his own head, right? Like, I feel like he's in his own head more than anybody else is in his head. Like, tonight, like, I think he's playing Joel Embiid.
He's playing in Philly tonight, yeah.
Yeah. Like, he dictates that. He dictates that, like, how he approaches that game and that matchup. Like, nobody else does but him. But I think a healthy Brooklyn is scary. But going back to what I said, I don't think the Bucks are fraudulent at all. Healthy or non-healthy, I think Milwaukee's a very tough team to beat, whether they have Middleton or not. I really believe that. I truly believe that. I think Jason Tatum had a legacy game in Game 6 for sure. Right? Like, without that Jason Tatum performance, the Celtics didn't really play all that particularly well. The Celtics would have lost that series. Like, and the thing is I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but, like, nobody talks about those games of Jason Tatum before the NBA Finals. Like, he had a good stretch of basketball in the playoffs. But a healthy Milwaukee or not, I think is fine. But the Suns, on the other hand, those guys need to figure something out.
I'm so happy it's their downfall. I feel bad for Chris, but
I don't know. I think one thing that nobody talks about is that Jay Crowder hasn't been playing, and he was big for them. Like,
yeah, he was very big.
Like, that team was definitely well built, but now that they have DeAndre Ayton's disgruntled, and you didn't even want to sign there.
Didn't he sign with the Pacers, and then
and then they had to match it
back? And I think Chris Paul is definitely showing his age this season. He's not.
I feel bad for him. I hope he gets a ring eventually.
Devin Booker is extremely inconsistent, just like Tatum, and yeah. I mean, the Cam Johnson was good. I don't think he's as good as he was last year as well.
I need to sneak that in there, bro.
What?
You know what? Don't wipe that smirk off your face. Why?
Tatum?
Like Fred VanVleet?
Yeah, well, you can say like Fred VanVleet, but
So say Fred VanVleet.
Like Fred VanVleet.
Be unbiased.
Like DeMar DeRozan used to be, like Lowry used to be before he decided to be the best point guard in the playoffs that one year they won the championships. Yeah. By the way, when's the last time the Celtics have won a championship? What, 2008? Pathetic.
Thank God you know your facts, because that would have been embarrassing. That's a dope ring. Let me pull that up.
That's the Raptors one.
Look at that. Oh, that's gorgeous.
That is gorgeous. I like the jerseys that they want. The red North one.
Oh yeah,
I do.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're flexing. Like, I have no disrespect towards the Raptors. When you flash that to me, I'm not jealous.
I just hate Boston. That's just me.
Well, Boston's about to win this year, unfortunately.
You
Either
probably are.
Boston or the Nuggets. That's 100% the finals.
I forget what we picked for the finals.
The finals, you picked Dallas to beat Cleveland.
I'm big on Luka. That's the only reason why I picked Dallas.
So Dallas is what? 3 losses away from being the 12th seed. Just based on how what's it called?
Don't be shocked. All I'm saying is don't be shocked.
Luka needs help. He's not going.
Does he though?
This is like young LeBron.
Yes, he does.
They're giving him Christian Wood. Like
Christian Wood's a good player. Jalen Brunson was
that's the second best player on a championship team. Christian Wood.
I don't think a championship team, but you do apparently. So
yeah, wait, you think Christian Wood's the second best player on a championship?
I don't think he's a second best player on the championship team, but he's a good player. Look,
not second best.
This is like
Dallas,
LeBron years.
Dallas lost their next 3 games. If Dallas lost their next 3 games, they go down and they're the 11th.
Yeah, but that's just because the West is so competitive right now.
It's competitive, but Dallas is 1 game over 500.
West
they're 500 if they lose their next game.
So are the Suns.
Okay,
Minnesota was like,
but we're not talking about the Suns. We're not talking about.
I'm just saying that is like all those wins are almost solely attributed to Luka playing out of his mind.
And you still think Jokic is an MVP with the second best team in the league, 1 win away from being the best team in the league.
Are they not the best? Oh no, they're behind Boston.
One Celtics loss, and then they're the best team in the league. And you think Embiid, and I'm taking Embiid over Luka for MVP with a 30-16 record.
Where are the Sixers? Oh, they're second.
Second in the East. Third,
I don't know.
Fourth.
I'm just big on Luka. That's it.
I don't know. So one thing I forgot to get deeper into. You're taking Bill Russell as the greatest of all time. That is something else. Because you could talk. I don't think it's about the era at all. I don't think it's about how talented the era was.
The winning. I think the way. I just think the way he played. I don't know. I think him.
The winning is one thing, but also there's 13 teams in the league, 8 teams at one point.
And that's respect. That's why I have my backup goat, and I say Michael Jordan. I think it's undoubtedly Michael Jordan because the points that are brought up with Bill Russell, they're 100%. Like, those are facts, right? Those aren't opinions. Those are facts, which I understand, right? And that's why I hate choosing the GOATs because I don't like comparing eras. I very much dislike comparing eras of basketball. It's very hard to. I think it's very, even with research, even with all that, it's very difficult to do.
I think you just gotta mainly just look at like how that player impacted their era. Like you can obviously say the players are better today than they were 20 years ago as far as like who's like if you like to put a time travel machine, but like that's because like
I think the way
stats has changed, the 3-point line changed a bunch.
Right. I think it's Jordan. I also think we sit here and we talk about LeBron James and everything. I don't know, man. I just
bias.
I mean, he's what, like 170 something points away from breaking the record.
That's the all-time scoring record. That's sports.
That has like
there's also other phenomenal records out there. Like there's so much. There's so many dominant records out there.
Will Chamberlain scored 4,000 points in a season. 4,000 points.
No 3-pointers.
Who else has had a better 20th season in their career? No one.
But that's sports science. That's longevity. Look at Curry in 5 years. If Curry in 5 years,
Curry's fallen off a cliff in 5 years.
Really though, like Kevin Durant's about to be 35.
Kevin Durant's another one of those anomalies.
Kevin Durant is 34. A 34-year-old.
Okay.
10 years ago, a 34-year-old with Kevin Durant's injury history is out of the league. But it's sports science. You got to take that.
It's crazy how well he's bounced back.
LeBron is the GOAT of longevity. but longevity has been like there's other sports like even in tennis, which I'm a fan of. Djokovic, Federer, and Nadal were all winning Grand Slams, which is the biggest tournament at 35, 34. Djokovic is about to win another one, and he's 35 years old. That's sports science. Players 10 years ago, even in tennis, were not doing close to the same thing.
Didn't
Like,
LeBron play 10 years ago?
The longevity argument is basically saying LeBron played in a more recent era, so obviously he's going to play longer. Like
Well,
Kareem,
LeBron played
Kareem, I think
10
is a
years
better
ago.
as far as longevity.
That'd be like saying like, oh yeah, Vince Carter should still be playing because he played in the era where sports science was.
But he did.
Great.
He played till 40. Like a player playing till 38 nowadays is like a player playing till like.
Yeah, but he's playing at all-star MVP level.
But yeah, but that's like if you look at like how equivalent it is, like what's it called? Kareem won a Finals MVP at 37. That's, in my opinion, more impressive than anything LeBron's doing now because he was playing in the.
LeBron what when he was 36, 35.
35.
You never know. He might win another one in his career.
I don't think he's an impactful player as far as winning anymore. I think he's a empty numbers. I think he is a
Westbrook triple doubles.
He's a Westbrook guy. But I think Westbrook.
I have nothing against Russ either.
I don't think LeBron is the type of guy that will impact winning. I think you put him on. I would take if you traded Tatum for LeBron, the Celtics would not be the number 1 seed still, in my opinion. I don't think LeBron is the type of guy that can win a championship ever again. I think he's just so focused on putting up numbers and stat stuffing. That's why the Lakers
his own. Yeah, he does.
Look at how good the Lakers are when Anthony Davis is the focus of the offense and the main player on the team, and then look at them when LeBron's the focus.
Well, who else is LeBron supposed to play with?
But that's the thing. Like you could say, oh, it's his team, but Anthony Davis, when he's the number 1 option, the team has been remember when Anthony Davis was healthy and he was playing like well, and he was like the main scorer, the main guy, and even LeBron I think sat a few games that they won. That type of team is a playoff team. With the roster they have, take LeBron off and put even if you put like a player like I don't know who to say, but like any top 15 player, you trade LeBron for them, and I think they're a better team.
Oh, but nah.
All right, my goats: Bill Russell and Michael Jordan. Eddie, who are you? Your 2 goats?
That's Jordan and Kareem.
Jordan and Kareem. All right, what's your 2 goats, Marco?
LeBron and then Jordan.
It seems like there's a common theme here, eh? Am I noticing something?
What?
Somebody's been
said 3 times, and then there's 3 other players miscellaneous, but someone's been said 3 times.
So what is that?
Jordan's been only said number 1 once.
I think. I don't know. I hate. I refuse to talk about the GOAT conversation because of eras, and I think it's invalid to compare what's happening in today's world, where, we see Curry, and I'm not taking Curry's value away at all, but we see Curry scoring 50 points, and when we see Curry score 50 points, he has 11 made 3-pointers, which is what? What's 11 times 3? That's 33 points.
Yeah. 33 points.
That's 33 points on, so that's 17 points in free throws, most likely, and 2-pointers. And
it's like when James Harden was going off, on the Rockets in those last
but I'm just saying, and then you go back and you see, when Russell and Kareem and, honestly, even Jordan didn't shoot a lot of threes. You see them when they put up 50. It was strictly 2 points.
Jordan averaged 37 points a game, which is ridiculous.
I'm just saying, the games has evolved so much where the 3-point shot is so effective, and, I don't know. I feel
the pace of play as well, and the offensive efficiency is crazy nowadays. Any player can drop 50 points on any given night. You can have
the pace is astronomical.
You can have the 8th man go and drop 40 because he hits 5 threes.
I don't think. Yeah, I feel like 50 doesn't hit the same anymore. When you see someone dropping 50, you're not. I don't feel like you're as shocked as you were.
50 is the new 10 years ago.
I agree. When I, it's not that it's not special. It's just. And that's funny because we were going to talk about that on the return episode of the Lowe Zone was, that was going to be one of our topics. every night we see a 45-point game. Every night we see a 38-point game. Every night we've been seeing like every other night rather we'd see like a 50-point game. Like I think there's a streak going on about how many players like each day are scoring 35 or more points, and
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It's like the most in NBA history. That's just the era that we're in, and that's why again I hate talking about GOATs. Like I think like that in football as well. Like when we talk about Tom Brady's the GOAT, well, GOAT of what? GOAT of quarterbacks? Because are we going to compare?
Yeah, football's very
Football's
more
very-
positional.
I know
like,
it's more positional. I know, but like today,
Football is like the quarterback impacts the game way more than any
Like
other.
but if you have a great wide receiver, you could be a mid quarterback and put up crazy numbers.
But do you
right?
see what I'm saying? Like in terms of like, I just feel like it's hard to like, I don't know, like it's very hard to debate. For me, at least personally, it's very hard to debate over the GOAT situation.
Yeah.
You know, like especially like one guy will have Kobe as a GOAT and another guy will have Shaq as a GOAT. It's like one's a guard, one's a center. They were playing two opposite games. You know what I mean? Like they were doing opposite things. Like obviously Kobe's better shooter than Shaq was, but Shaq is more dominant in the post defensively and offensively than Kobe ever was. So like that's where like I kind of
I don't know, but I wouldn't call Shaq a better defender than Kobe.
in the paint, down low in front of the basket.
Well,
Rim protector.
yeah, obviously.
That was more important in his era than the guard.
Correct. But that's kind of the point I'm trying to make is the fact that like it's hard for me personally to compare players of different eras.
See, like the thing with this era, I'll side tangent, but I don't know if it's particularly that people are playing less defense or if players are just being better.
The rules as well, like the rules have changed to make offensive players.
Let me ask you this. I was gonna save this for the Lowe Zone and talk about this with Oscar, but I want to hear you guys' opinions too. What do you think will happen first? A team scoring 200 points in a game, whether that's regulation or overtime. I mean, the Bucks put up 150 the other day in regulation.
That was nuts.
And the Pistons put up 130, so that's nuts. 200 in a game, or a player scores another 100-point game. What do you see first?
100-point game.
I feel like it's a 200-point NBA game.
That's you know what?
It's a Donovan Mitchell.
Isn't that a great debate topic?
That's a great.
200 points is nuts. Like
okay, but Donovan Mitchell scored what was it? 71 in overtime. He needed to go to overtime to reach that mark.
But that's like look at this though. Like take this into account. The highest scoring game in NBA history is like what 186, I think.
186 to 184. Yeah.
186, and that was what 3 or 4 overtimes.
But you're putting
like, you gotta like I don't know. The
players 3-point shots weren't taken like that back then. Like
you're betting that one player is gonna stay hot the entire game compared to multiple players on one team one night just all.
I don't think either one of them is gonna be broken. I don't watch me be wrong.
You don't think there's gonna be
watch Luka score 400 points next game?
No, I'm not saying they're gonna happen, but what could you realistically see happen?
I honestly realistically see 200.
I don't see 200 ever happening. I think that's nuts, but I could see a player scoring like 15 threes, which would be 45 points.
That's still not even half.
Also with free throws, like
what's the record for 3 points? Is it still Klay Thompson's 14?
I think it's Klay.
Right, and it took him all game to get 14, right?
Yeah, but he wasn't shooting every single shot. Like I could see a player like Luka having 60 going into the fourth.
But there's a level of fatigue
and then just shooting
playing a full game.
Well, right? Look at these players that are dropping 70. Donovan Mitchell dropped 70 in overtime. Devin Booker dropped 70. But look, Devin Booker wasn't supposed to drop 70.
Devin Booker did against a Celtic
team. Once he noticed he had like 55 points.
And he shot every shot by double digits.
Like I think like with
70 is like kind of
how selfish superstars are nowadays. I could see someone who has 60 going into the fourth is shooting 40 shots in the fourth quarter and
but you're not. I don't think you're taking into account that the amount of fatigue that comes from shooting that many shots for one guy is like, I
think their egos can take over.
Maybe that's a good debate topic though.
Holy 200 points would take 3 or 4 OTs.
150 in regulation for the Bucks. Just remember that.
Well, it's like the second highest regulation game in like recent history.
Like
If I'm being
high
honest,
scoring regulation game.
What's closer? It's 150 in regulation is like someone scoring. Like if you look at the math, what would that be? 75.
The highest scoring regulation game was 1990, 162 to 158.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
So 38 points off doesn't seem too much.
50 points off is like a whole halftime score off. Like, you know, like it's crazy though. And then you saw the Pistons put up 130. So that's what is that, 280? That's almost 300 points combined put up in a game.
That's insane.
But also, like, Eddie makes a good point, and earlier he was talking about how fast the pace is. Like, I think that benefits it as well, and I think that's why you could very much so see one of those two, if not both, things happen. Maybe not soon, but like
I don't know. I don't think.
I think if the team, like, if they're specifically trying to get to that goal, I think a player could do it. But if it's just a normal game, I think 200 is more likely. Because if a player wants to score 200 and let his team, or 100 and let his team stink, he just cherry picks, right?
I mean, now looking at that, I think 200 is possible if like 3 OTs happen. I mean, they did in the All-Star game, so I guess it is.
Yeah, so.
But like,
yeah.
I feel like players would, I think like teams and players would want that 100 more than the 200. Because I feel like a big factor would be like, oh, I want this, so I'm going to go chase it and try my best to get it.
That's what I'm saying. If a player's like actively trying to get 100, I feel like that's more possible.
Like, what about like Russell Westbrook when he got the 20-20-20 game? He was like chasing rebounds, chasing assists.
Correct. Right.
Those points. Like,
biggest stat power of all time.
I mean, like Wilt Chamberlain did the 20-20-20 game, which no one talks about. But Russell Westbrook was that he's like, that's like he sees this stat like his score, and he's like, oh, I have a triple double in the third quarter, and like the third quarter just started. I can
like something doing 2K.
Yeah. It's like think about it. When you're playing 2K and you're doing like a little micro game, you're going for that 100. You're not going, hey, well, I hope my team gets 200 points. You're going, I want 100 points.
But 2K, it's like your player doesn't necessarily like with an NBA player. After you put up so many shots, your shots start to fall short. You know what I mean? Like
hit the front
they do to some degree,
right?
Like if you're
and they have to overcompensate by jumping
rhythm,
high or whatever, right? It just throws you off. It's very unlikely that
you
player
say
stays
that, but look at
consistently.
Donovan Mitchell in the overtime. He was I think he dropped a good.
I feel like it was more adrenaline that he made to overtime.
Exactly.
Off
So it's like the same
shot.
thing. If you have 80 points and it's 6 minutes left, imagine how much you're going to be chasing that 20 more points.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Your mind is going to be like, if I can get 100 points, I'm going to be written down over the Wilt Chamberlain who had them.
But I also think the other team would, like, even if they're losing, they will try their hardest to make sure you don't get that 100.
But like, if your whole team is focused on you, just you scoring, then what can they really do?
Who do you think that 100 would be if you had to pick? If you had to absolutely pick?
Luka.
It's got to be Luka.
I would say, honestly, I would say Luka too.
I just feel like he had that 60-20-10 game,
right?
And that was just him trying to win the game, right? I feel like if he tried to get.
I mean, Luka's a James Harden clone, in my opinion. He did everything that James Harden's.
He's more efficient than James Harden from the field.
From the field, not from three, though. I think
Fair.
Harden is a better 3-point shooter, and Luka's better. He's just stronger, like within the 2-point range.
I think just Luka impacts his team more than James Harden did, because James Harden could not play in the playoffs to save his life.
Yeah.
Consistently never could.
Yeah.
I think that's good. I mean, I think we're gonna see that. I think we're gonna see one of those two things happen pretty soon.
I feel like it's closer than people think.
I don't want it to happen. I want Wilt to keep that. He deserves it. It's nuts that
all these old records are gonna be broken.
Watch, it's gonna be like at the buzzer, like 1-0, like somebody's gonna be at 99, and at the buzzer they're gonna like dribble out the clock, and then go for it. And
I can honestly see Luka doing that. Like, I can picture it.
I mean, visualization's a strong thing. So, any other topics you want to cover?
We have 9 minutes left on the Zoom call.
Yeah.
You want to shout out your podcast?
Lowe Zone. It's coming back this Sunday, which it should have been back last Sunday, but we had some really bad mishaps that went on that we didn't figure out until literally maybe at 45 minutes before the show, and we couldn't get them, to work, which was very frustrating. But it's back Sunday, January 29th, 2 p.m. We're going live. So that should be fun. Talk about all things hoops, maybe bring up this debate and see what Oscar thinks. Because I do think it's a very valid debate, and I think it's something that we need to start talking about because, like we talked about the pace of the game and the 3-point shots changed the game for sure.
It's very realistic.
Right. Like, I feel like, and now people are starting to talk about a 4-point shot, which is like,
Okay. Yeah.
like,
No,
that's,
I want them to get rid of the 3-point shot. I don't want
like, leave that to the Globetrotters. Like, I don't want to, but
Hey,
the
and Oscar, by the way, quick sidebar, Oscar, your franchise is irrelevant. The Magic are an irrelevant franchise. They're the most irrelevant franchise. The only reason anyone even knows it exists because they had cool jerseys back in the day with Shaq and Penny. And I think the only franchise more relevant is the Clippers. Kawhi is an idiot for going to the Clippers. What an awful, awful franchise.
I mean, to be fair, when you have three first overall picks, you should have a chip.
I think the Magic are pathetic. I think the Clippers are pathetic, and I think I'd take the LA Sparks over the Clippers in a 7-game series.
LA Sparks.
And there you go. I just had to mention that. Any Magic fan,
I mean, why don't you say it to him, face to face?
Oh, I will.
Hey, if I could deal with the Celtic slander, he can deal with the Magic slander.
Well, I mean, the Celtics at least have had a celebrated past.
I feel like Eddie's gonna go a bit rough right now. Magic.
Is he?
Nothing.
Also,
And
fuck
the
Jalen
Celtics
Suggs. I hate that guy.
Yeah, Jalen
Jalen
Suggs.
Suggs is a
Hey,
bust.
you had a chance to get Scotty Barnes. How does it feel? How does it feel? You had a shot, but we took him.
Look into the camera and talk to Oscar. Go ahead.
Oscar, you had a chance. Scotty Barnes is ours. You have Jalen Sucks. Jalen Sucks is trash, bro. Come on. Markel Fultz, trash. Paolo Banchero, he's a bust already.
Franz Wagner.
Good year.
That Bancaro stuff. Let's relax.
Banchero's just gonna have a sophomore slump. He's the next Jabari Parker.
Damn, that's tough. That's tough.
Hey,
Jesus
what about Franz Wagner?
Christ.
Franz Wagner, he's gonna leave you in free agency in 3 years before you guys even have a chance to make the playoffs. There you go.
Do you think Franz is ahead of the Orlando Magic? Do you think he's ahead? Do you think he's too good to be on the Magic?
I think he's a good player. I think he has a good future. I think he's gonna leave the Magic immediately.
Is he the only good player on the Magic?
Just like DJ Augustine left.
I think he's their best player.
Mitch left.
I think he's their best player for sure.
Yeah, I could definitely.
Shout out to probably the best player on the Magic, Terrence Ross, Raptors legend.
You don't deserve Bull trash franchise, awful franchise. Yeah, just had to mention.
I wish Boston kept him.
Yeah.
Celtics traded him last year.
Whoa.
Damn.
I can't believe the Miami drafted him. Nuggets got rid of him.
To be fair, he was injured when he was with the Celtics,
Yeah,
so he wasn't even going to play. So to be fair, I know what you're saying because I agree with you. I wish they kept Bobo, but in the Celtics defense,
Taco Fall.
You guys should have kept Taco.
no,
I feel like he's.
Taco sucked, and I love Taco. But Taco sucked, dude.
He couldn't play more than 5 minutes. He gets fatigued so quickly.
He rolled his ankle doing a dunk. He faked it from the 3-point line, drove in, dunked, and rolled his ankle.
Like sure, he's gonna have a very efficient 2-3.
But is he not playing in China right now? I feel like
him and Kemba dishing it up in China and Dwight.
good nuts in that league.
I remember last year people were talking trash because Kemba had a few games and I dropped him in fantasy, and
We're losing in fantasy right now.
How about that, guys?
Just to let everyone know, Eddie is not a good fantasy player. He's losing.
Hey, by the way, fans out there, if you don't know, I'm the king of fantasy. I've played 8 fantasy
You
leagues
haven't
in the last
won.
2 years. You shut up. I've played 8 fantasy leagues in the last 2 years, and I've won 6 of them. That's a 75% win rate. That is pretty damn good if you
I just can't believe you called out Oscar just straight cold. That was I wish he was here.
You are pathetic. Your franchise is pathetic.
Why are you saying he's with that?
And Dwight Howard sucks too, buddy. How did Dwight
Okay.
Howard?
He
You
deserved to
made
be
a finals.
top
No, that's what I disagree.
You guys made a finals, and then
He
got
deserved to be over
absolutely
Dame.
bummed by the Lakers.
He was better than Dame.
Nah, Dwight 75 is real.
100%.
I agree.
He
Dwight's a
got
good defender, but he didn't do. The Magic couldn't figure it out with him. They put a.
So you're
decent
saying
defender in
Orlando
the
didn't
defense.
deserve Dwight?
They didn't deserve Dwight. Dwight should have left earlier.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh!
And you didn't deserve T-Mac
so
either.
Oscar was
Did you
on
guys
this
even make the
episode.
playoffs with T-Mac? Did you even make the playoffs once with T-Mac? Look at all this talented players you've had, and then all of them have left it within like 3 years.
They didn't get. They should have gone Tim Duncan. Never did.
Oh yeah. Let's not forget that they could have had a chance at T-Mac and Tim Duncan on the same team.
And
And
healthy Grant Hill.
they said his family couldn't fly on the team plane. Imagine that. Sad, sorry franchise. All right, I just have to mention that real quick.
Well,
Clippers
damn.
are worse though. Don't make
That
me
was the most heated I've ever seen you talk about team ever.
And it was the Orlando Magic of all of them. Like it wasn't
Don't
the
make me get
Boston
started on the
Celtics.
Clippers.
It wasn't the Lakers. Like it wasn't the.
Same
It
ranking
was
as the
the-
Lakers.
Don't get me started on the Clippers. Oh God, the Clippers. Oh.
The
Any
most.
notable Clippers fans? All
You know-
5 of them.
Yeah, the clip. That's ridiculous. That is.
Again, the LA Sparks are better. The LA Sparks are better.
The Clippers are not building a winning culture, and they're not going to have a winning culture.
Candace Parker is better. Lisa Leslie is better than Paul George. I'm taking Lisa Leslie and Candace Parker in a 2v2 over Kawhi and Paul
I feel
George.
like we're starting some certain territories over here.
Yeah.
I thought you were like a non-avid supporter of the WNBA, Eddie.
I love the WNBA.
Wow.
Name 5
Do you
players.
support the WNBA?
I do, yeah. Obviously, I don't think they're as
What are
talented.
you,
but
what are
that's-
you saying, Marco?
Name 5 players.
Name 5 players in the WNBA. Did
Yeah.
Reiner count? Sue,
Brittany
mean-
Griner?
Sue,
Wait, who did you just say?
Sue Bird. Candace
Did she
Parker.
retire?
Yeah, she did.
Diana Taurasi or whatever.
What about the girl in New York?
I don't know. I can name more W.
Brianna
I-
Stewart. She's a big free agent. Brianna Stewart might be.
Oh,
going.
Brianna Stewart is nasty. She was playing for Seattle too, eh?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, there you go.
Might be
See,
going to New York.
I know my WNBA.
That's 3, no?
I named like 5 players. Lisa Leslie's retired.
You can't name retired
The
players.
goat Diana Taurasi.
Who's the one who works for ESPN? Chinny Kisnera or whatever.
You guys are talking about Sabrina Indrescu, whatever her name is.
What?
The girl in New York. She has like a shoe deal. She was on the State Farm commercials with Chris Paul.
Yeah, her. Yeah. What about her?
Yeah.
Oh shit! It's looking like the Zoom is about to end, so I guess we gotta wrap up here. All right, outro time.
Check out the Lowe Zone. Back this Saturday.
Oh yeah, Sunday. Get your facts. right.
Sunday.
Oh my! Fake news! Come on!
Shit.
It's Sunday.
I messed it up. New podcast out every Wednesday. We're late this week, but
Oh yeah.
we're back on track. Starting next week. We got DJ coming on next week, so we're hyped for that.
We got some fire guests coming up, guys.
We got some pretty heat guests. We got some pretty heat guests coming in.
All right. Good riddance, Mr. Celtics. Good riddance. Fuck the Magic. Fuck the Celtics.
Damn, you have a Celtics guy and you're trashing the man.
I'm taking the Nuggets over the Celtics now. Fuck it. I
Luka
changed.
Doncic MVP. LeBron James is the GOAT. Don't ever forget that.